Tonight on The Bachelorette, we find out who's going to hometowns and how hometowns work in the middle of a pandemic. But before we get there, we have got a lot to unpack from last week's episode. Joining me, as always, it's the Bachelorette Roundtable, our senior producer, Jenna, and our digital team, Britt and Abby, to break it all down. And we've got to start with the conclusion of what I called the most low-stakes two-on-one in Bachelorette history, Bennett and Noah.
Each Noah and Bennett had a time to state their case in front of Tayshia, and Bennett did himself no favors when he started talking about the psychological, he has X, Y, and Z. I knew right then and there he was going to go home.
I think by having this conversation about Noah, she's going to have a whole newfound respect for me and shows her that I'm a potential husband that can raise children.
So after she sends him home, I can't tell you how funny I thought it was how you go to Noah and he's just like, oh yeah, I got the rose, I'm here to stay. And she comes in and just ends him.
And to be honest with you, Noah, I'm not gonna give you this rose right now either. I truly don't know how I feel right now.
So then we get to the rose ceremony. We lose Ed, DeMar, and Spencer, who is the biggest waste of a first impression rose of all time.
I don't think I've ever seen somebody get a first impression rose and not make an impression on Bachelor Nation at all. Like, it was just crazy to me.
I think that's because Tayshia clearly has a type, and it's an East Coast guy, because that is essentially what we're down to, with the exception of Ben, who gets a one-on-one this week, and we learn a lot more about Ben.
Ben really opens up to Tayshia. She could tell he was holding something back, and you can tell he was really hesitant about really opening up about a very serious issue.
I guess we can go deep. I had 2 failed suicide attempts in 2018 and 2019. And I don't mean to throw that on you. It's a weird thing to do here.
You could tell it was really, really hard to open up, as it should be on TV on such a serious subject. But to share that on TV with the world takes a lot of strength. And I give him so much credit for that.
Ben.
I was very scared about sharing all of those things.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm okay.
You're okay.
And that's pretty cool.
And I'm still right here.
Yeah.
So Ben is clearly a front runner, and a couple of our other front runners are on our next date.
That is a polygraph test, and we are going to be testing you all today.
I've got some questions about the legitimacy of this polygraph, because it appeared to be like some monitors hooked up to a laptop with some lights that apparently flashed.
It was totally something you could get at a toy store. It was like my first lie detector test.
Have you ever cheated on someone?
Yes. It was on my first girlfriend in 6th grade. And that's my cheating story.
Honestly, Bolorama, you're lying.
I'm dead serious.
6th grade, Zach?
I'm being honest. It's I'm hooked up to a thing.
Oh my God.
She has after, she kind of has a little cocktail party with all the men she did the lie detector test. And, people are opening about their lives. And if you come meet my family, more about my family, they're really opening up. And what does she do? She decides not to give the rose to anybody.
I actually really appreciated that. I think she saw that giving a rose to one of them might mean to the other guys who didn't get a rose that she didn't respect and value them opening up, which she didn't want to do.
Every single guy has put their heart on the line. But meeting family is a really big deal for me, and it's something I don't take lightly.
In my mind, Zach and Brendan are both going to end up with a hometown rose, and then it's just a bunch of guys for one more spot.
It's who's up for grabs for that 4th one, and I don't really know. We do know that Bennett decides to come back in the picture, and it just got all awkward for Bennett once again.
Hello, Tayshia. Hi. Can we speak for a minute?
Yeah.
Was it just me, or was Bennett extra psychopathy at the end of this episode?
Do you see how he scared Tayshia? Everyone's like, she was so crazy taken aback that he was there. I was like, no, he showed up just hi, Tayshia. like terrifying.
So Bennett follows her into her casita, and essentially, even though she's just sent him home earlier in the day, he says, look, Tayshia, I'm in love with you.
Bennett said, I love you. It's been a long time since I've heard the words, I love you, and it mean absolutely everything.
And all of a sudden, you have to wonder, is he a legitimate contender?
No.
There's a lot of things that we're unsure of over the next 2 nights. I think 2 things we know for sure is Noah's going home and so is Bennett, which is exactly how we started last week's episode.